Hey guys, and welcome to another tutorial. This time it's going to be about collisions, which is a topic that I wanted to address because I had some issues with it myself recently, and I think I came up with a pretty good way of solving it. Let's see, I have some stuff in here. I'm just going to use for this demonstration here. So the original mesh looks like this. I'm just going to import that, and we're going to import it with auto generate collision on, and in this case it's kind of a cliff side thingy, and you can see it's actually missing the back side here. And if we turn on simple collision, it looks like this. In my case, I need this for a VR project, and I need my player to be able to grab onto it. So I need a fairly precise collision. So what I would do here is go to convex decomposition and set the accuracy to 1 and max hull verts to 32 and apply. So we're just gonna look at what it generates for us. And this is, by the way, gonna take a little bit of time. So while that is processing, we're just gonna wait for it. It's gonna, if you're gonna do something similar to this, you can see it has 7,500 triangles. So it's a medium to big sized mesh, but so it's gonna take a little while to do this. The thing about the cliffs like this, which are missing the backside, is that it's going to try and create a convex decomposition, which kind of treats the entire mesh as, well, being hollow, since it is kind of hollow, and that results in a lot of single collision meshes. And that is actually the reason why it takes such a long time. And the problem with that, which I found out by testing around with it a little bit, was that once you have these collisions generated, you're going to end up with something very complex, and it's probably, one, not going to perform too well, and two, it's gonna leave some really weird holes in them. So if you plan on walking around on them, you may eventually fall through. So if you look at it from the back side, you're gonna get something looking maybe something similar to this, and that is actually pretty good. But as I said, you may end up sometimes falling through because it's hollow, and well, in VR you will have some issues sometimes. You can see actually we probably have a hole here where you can sometimes end up pushing yourself through. So this was not really acceptable for me. So what I did was to cap this in a different version. So I filled out the backside, connected everything up, and just did it very fast. So it's got a terrible geometry, as you can maybe make out here, but I didn't really care about it because I just needed to be closed. So if we show the simple collision for this, it's going to be similar to what we saw before, and if we this time apply a convex decomposition, you're going to see that it runs really fast. So what you're going to get out of this is a much simpler collision. Unfortunately, I forget where the collision stuff. Well, I think we have 4 shells or something. 1, 2, 3, and 4 here. So it's, in my case, this is not really good enough. There is, for example, here, in, looking at it from the side, we can see actually my player is kind of like this tall. So in that case, he would not be able to stand here, and that would end up being really weird. I don't currently see a way to make this any higher definition, so I talked to some people on Discord, and they came up, pointed me towards this project here. It's on GitHub, Khaled Mammou V-HACD, which is a add-on to Blender. And here's a little warning: I am not a Blender person. Actually, I never used Blender really, but I installed Blender because I thought I would give it a shot. So here you can hit clone and download this as a zip. And once you have that downloaded and unpacked, you want to take it to just dump it somewhere in your Blender folder. And in my case, I dumped it here in the V-HACD master. This is what you're gonna get, all this stuff here. And inside the add-ons, there's a Blender, and there's a file called object V-HACD.py. It's a Python file. So if we open that one up, it has a bunch of stuff in here. I'm not gonna show, because actually I can't show it because I'm just gonna make a backup of it. But basically what you want to do is to take this file here, and you want to copy that into your Blender folder. In my case it's 278, under scripts, under add-ons, and inside here you're gonna find all these Python files here. I'm just gonna find the one that I modified a little bit, because I'm also gonna go through some changes I did. I think I'm gonna drag it out of here just for a moment, and then we're gonna start up Blender, which is gonna look like this. So that's probably an easier way to do this, but I'm just gonna delete this. I guess there's a way to avoid that annoying cube. But once you load it up, you're gonna find this V-HACD thing over here, and you're gonna see that this one is blank. So you need to point this to the location where you have where you copied it to, and in my case it's on the program files here, Blender Foundation, Blender something, and the master, and the binaries, and when this. So you need to point it to this file here, and then you can click this one, and you want to make some settings here definitely at some point, so you don't have to select them all over again every time. I found that this one, there's a explanation of the parameters you can enter here. I am not an expert on that, so I can only say what I did. I don't remember what it came in with to begin with, but I think I actually ended up setting this to 10 million. And I found that if I set the maximum concavity all the way down to 0, and the gamma all the way down to 0, then it would produce something fairly good. So actually I forgot one thing, because we also need an object first. So I'm going to import that FBX, which I showed before, and it's going to be the one where I closed the backside. Looking like this, as you can see. So now we can click this button here, and again we're going to enter 10 million, set this to 0, and set the gamma also to 0, and then hit OK. While it's working, there's something happening right now. I want to mention that I should probably figure out what these settings really do, because there's probably some settings that I really need to tweak in order to get an even better result. Did I hit OK? maybe I didn't. Yeah, well, it's working. There we go. So now it comes out with this thing here, and you can see it generated something which by the colors of here you can see it's a way better collision already. So what you need to do from here is to make sure that it follows the UCX, which means the convex collision pipeline from Unreal Engine. So that means that all these must be renamed, and that is kind of a pain in the ass to do manually. So what I did was to, and before I do anything, I'm just gonna show what I did. So if we just close down this and take this my version here, and I'm going to leave a copy of this, a link for this in the description, just this Python file here to the video. I'm just going to copy that into the scripts folder add-ons here and replace the existing one. And then stop blend again and import my file. Here we go. And let's make sure that I set this. I need to save these settings here. 0 and oops, 0, and I think I can save this as a default something. Okay. And I believe that actually I think I experimented a little bit by setting this to 64. So let's try that and hit OK. Okay, so this is specifically the changes that I made are specifically made for Unreal, the Unreal Engine workflow. So down here, I'm just gonna show that while we're waiting. On line 310 or so, you can see that I outcommented this stuff with the parenting, and I set the whole matrix basis, which I believe is transformation. And I make a new name to be UCX, and then the name of the object that we are generating a collision body for. And then I have this UCX index, which is just a basic counter, an integer, and then fill it with 2, so it has 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. And then I replace the shape index face set, which is kind of the default name that it gives it, with that new name. And since Blender apparently insists on adding .001, 002 and so on to the name, I split it here and just take the first part. So that is basically all I did, these 5 lines here, and then it should work quite a bit better. So you're just gonna get something looking like this. So you can see it got rid of the hierarchy, and it named everything just as you want it to be. And you can press B on your keyboard and select everything and go to export FBX. Make sure to select selected objects, and on desktop I'm just gonna select this one, test cliff. So if you now open up this one here and import it from the desktop, not as a skeleton mesh, this also generate collision. It's being ignored if it does have a collision, so don't worry about it. And we don't want to import any materials. So So if we now open up the collision and show the simple collision, we can see something looking quite a bit better. Still not perfect. It's there's probably something I can tweak on even more, but I would say this is well, it's getting very close to be acceptable for something that I can use. So in case somebody sees this and find it useful, like me, I hope yeah, they can make use of it. In a way, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and bye.